let's get into the news. And the first news story is that Stranger Things star Charlie Heaton is in talks to join the X-Men spinoff New Mutants. Now, this is also tied in with the fact that they already have Anya Taylor-Joy and Maisie Williams already signed on for the New Mutants project. And also the other one that like sort of a combo story here is that there are going to be 3 X-Men movies next year, or movies in the X-Men universe with Deadpool #2. Then you have Dark Phoenix and New Mutants coming out. So this is really cool. And for those guys who do not know, I wish I remembered what he played in New Mutants. But Charlie Heaton, he played the Will's brother,
the photographer.
The photographer in Stranger Things. And great actor. And then, of course, Maisie Williams is Arya Stark in Game of Thrones. And Anya Taylor-Joy was just in the movie Split. But yeah, this is... Oh, and sorry, Heaton is also going to play Sam Guthrie, also known as Cannonball, which we've already seen his power in Deadpool #1, done by Negasonic Teenage Warhead. So how do you guys feel about this? The casting choices and the fact that it seems like Fox is doing more mutants and getting away from the First Class, it looks like.
Although the Dark Phoenix would sort of suggest that they're doing it. It looks like they're doing it as like a 3-pronged attack, or having like different part of their production company, different production companies doing each of the separate movies, which makes sense because of the short turnaround on it. Maybe it's instead of like the big tentpole movies that the other companies are doing, they're going for the shotgun approach. Like, we'll throw out as much as we can, and hopefully they'll all stick, and we'll make our money back by not having one huge movie but 3 smallerish movies.
Yeah. Also, because this is in the Hollywood Reporter article, that Anya Taylor-Joy will be playing Magic, also known as Ilyana Rasputin. And Maisie Williams will play Rain Sinclair, aka Wolfsbane, which that one I have more of a nitpick with, because Maisie Williams is not Scottish, like Rain Sinclair is Scottish and all that. So, but the other one, I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy, I could see her playing Magic in the movie.
Who's actually Colossus's little sister.
Yeah. And just a total badass in the comic books. I mean, got a giant anime style sword that has souls in it, and is in the comics trained by Doctor Strange. And Mephisto, she was, at one point more demon than girl, but later on in the comics, she gets trained by Doctor Strange to control the more magic side of her powers.
Now the question is whether Disney will let that be a part of the story, like let just loan Cumberbatch for like a scene or 2.
Oh, the fans would crap their pants if that happened.
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, here's Benedict Cumberbatch. Wait, what?
Well, from a casting standpoint, I'll be honest, my comic book knowledge is less than I would like it to be, but I'm working on catching all that up. But so actually matching them to the characters, I don't know how well I can speak to that, but Charlie Heaton was amazing in Stranger Things.
Yep.
Anya Taylor-Joy was great in Split. Split was a fantastic movie, and all of the actors played really great parts in it. And then Maisie Williams, despite not being Scottish or whatever, I mean, she's Arya Stark. She's got the cachet to be able to do it. So strictly from an actor standpoint, I like the people that they have involved with the project. And You know, what Peter was saying about, you know, the shotgun effect of trying to get as many of these out as possible, and, you know, maybe their marketing. And I sure hope so, because, you know, I think I don't think we're hitting oversaturation. I mean, we've got superheroes everywhere, but I think, you know, at this point, we're still in the more the merrier stage. So, you know, keep them coming and keep, you know, giving us different people and different stories. We don't need, you know, all Superman, all Batman, all Wonder Woman. You know, we can take all the other characters and really get to start to know them too.
Although they might be taking their clue from Deadpool, because they didn't spend a lot of money on it, yet it grossed a whole lot. So that they're not going to have a 200 million movie and hope to make the 200 million back. They'll have like 120 million, 80 million movie. And it's a bit better chance to recoup their investment.
Yeah.
I look at this, and Wolfsbane is Scottish, so I think I was actually right on it.
Yeah.
But I look at this as the other thing that they could easily take from Deadpool is the involvement from the creators of the characters. So New Mutants, done by Chris Claremont. So, you know, I could easily see, you know, and these characters were created by him too, by him and Bob McLeod, who did the art for it. So it's like, you know, get them involved in here, because I mean, Chris Claremont's still doing great comic books, and I've heard a lot of people, I think Corey included, who came into X-Men because of Chris Claremont. You know, Chris Claremont, I believe he also did Days of Futures Past, the comic book version. And so, you know, I mean, it's just like, yeah, if they're involved with it, it's like remotely as much as Rob Liefeld was, you know, because I think Rob Liefeld gave advice when it came to Deadpool, you know, like how, like, what do they think here? But that was mainly because Ryan Reynolds wanted that, you know, because he's like, go to the source. Who's the dude who knows this character better? The guy who created the character. So like, that's where I look at this. As for the other two, I mean, Deadpool, okay, obviously, because again, you know, they made the first one. It was a big success. Why not do a second one? And then Dark Phoenix, I mean, they sort of did this before with the with X-Men 3, but X-Men 3 was not the best. I mean, the best part in that for me was the casting of I'm blanking on Kelsey Grammer as Beast, because that's one of them castings. I'm like, yep. I mean, you get one of the most intellectual people. Actually, him and Alan Cummings. I liked both those casting choices for the blue characters in X-Men. But the interesting part is where these are going to end up. New Mutants is set to come out on April 13th next year. Deadpool is actually going to be in the heart of summer. It's going to be on May 1st. So that also tells me that
June 1st.
June 1st. Yeah. June 1st. So, you know, the kicking off in a lot of ways and going up against, you know, the big tentpole superhero movies, because that's usually where we get a lot of.
That's when Wonder Woman came out this year.
Yeah, that's when Wonder Woman came out. Was it there? And then Dark Phoenix is taking on the Marvel I wish Beat still had the one graphic, but it comes out November 2nd, and that's been where a lot of, like, Thor Ragnarok is going to come out this year in November, and so we'll get probably like Captain Marvel or something like that coming up in that time as well. So that's the other interesting part for me, is where they're putting these out.
Yeah. The other thing that really excited me about this article is they're talking about how this is going to be given a horror thriller bent, the New Mutants. And I think that's a really interesting and good idea. You know, with Deadpool, you had the more adult humor and the superhero that, you know, all of them have a little bit of humor in them, but Deadpool was a comedy for, all intents and purposes. Giving this one the kind of thriller horror is going to be, I think, an interesting take on it. I guess they're probably going to go, obviously, for the R rating, so it's going to be, that more gritty part that people have been saying that they want from some of the superhero movies, without having to put it in things like Avengers and, Captain America and stuff like that. Those can still remain somewhat light, somewhat, family-friendly fun, but then also have this other set with Deadpool. Logan was much more, in the gritty mode, and then, this New Mutants being a horror thriller, I think is an interesting idea for them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
I'm wondering if the horror comes from Warlock being with them, because if you don't know who Warlock is, and you probably all know who he is, he's an alien sort of Borgish type living circuitry who's broken off from the main his people, and in the New Mutant run, they came and tried to take over humanity and the world. So that might be part of the storyline, although I'm not seeing anything about the story in the article.
Yeah.
No, the other interesting part is, because I just looked, and this is according to Wikipedia, where anyone can edit Wikipedia, but according to the thing, the Dark Phoenix has the best, at least on the Marvel side, the cleanest shot at dominating the winter, because there's nothing coming out in the fall of 2018
except for the Han Solo movie, but that's like Christmas and practically 2019.
So yeah, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they have a big year coming out, or for 2018 as well, because you got Black Panther in the Valentine's Day slot. Avengers Infinity War comes out in May, on May 4th, Star Wars Day. Ant-Man and the Wasp come out in July, so that's, I believe, going to be, well, no, Deadpool would have been out for about a month then. And then that's it. The next one is Captain Marvel in 2019. So, I mean, it's one of those, like, with the exception of the Han Solo movie, there's not really, I don't think, any, geeky movies, like, geeky, nerdy movies that are going to be competition for a lot of these movies.
You said that was November of 2018?
Yeah.
November 16th, 2018, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 2 is set to release.
And thank you for proving me wrong.
When you said that, I'm like, wait, November, that's got to be Fantastic Beasts. It's 2 years later. It's got to be right in that wheelhouse somewhere. So as long as they hit all their production goals and stuff like that. But, that said, it's, that's not a superhero movie. So, it is still kind of as far as the superhero genre goes. But
yeah. And also, I mean, you think about this, you have February, April, like May, June, July, all with a Marvel superhero movie in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, oh my god! Like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, we had it with Guardians of the Galaxy in May, and then this month it was Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and then next month it's Spider-Man: Homecoming, and I'm like, wow, this is really fun. Then it's like, oh yeah, hey, that's warm up, son. Get ready for next year, because next year I'm almost gonna live in the movie theaters, going and seeing all these movies.
Although I hope it doesn't get to the point like it is in the comic book things, where they'll have, special cover on it. It's only made 1 million of them, so go and get it now. Like having the quantity high, but the quality not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, we're 4 years away from that, 4 or 5 years away from them going, all right, and rebrand time. It's now it's the DC's new 52 in the film universe. And Marvel now. Here's your new Captain America #1 and stuff like that. I hope that joke does not become like at all true.
Although that would be a good excuse to bring Morales in as Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
Which was another thought about what they could do with the Venom movie that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That instead of having Peter Parker Spider-Man fighting against Venom, they could have the new Spider-Man in it as like have it not as him being the main character, but like a background character as an introduction to him into the world.
Yeah. I mean that. Yeah, I could see that, and that would be really cool. But oh gosh, Shawn, what do you think of that?
It potentially it could be interesting. That's actually one of my problems with comic books, is that it gets difficult to sometimes follow storylines, because all of a sudden you've got 3 different people who are all Spider-Man in 3 different books. And I think we're already starting to see some of that when we look at the DC side. Between the TV and the movie stuff, you've got 2 different actors playing the Flash from TV and the movies. And now if, Barry Allen kind of moves on from the Flash TV show as the main character and it focuses more on Wally West, you're going to have one Flash in the movies, one Flash on TV. So to me, that would be a detriment. But I understand where a lot of people would like to see that variety of, the different Spider-Men or the different characters and things like that all are the same superhero but are slightly variation.
Well, the CU universe is really handling that good with the multiverse. They just, okay, there's multiple places where there's different people. Everything is okay.
Oh yeah.
And once again, getting back to I watch Emergency Awesome. The Charlie there says there's no way that Grant Gustin's not going to be on the TV show next year. They'll just figure out another way of him coming back, because in the comics that's happened too, that Barry's disappeared for 20 years and then all of a sudden he emerges from the Speed Force, coming back after Wally's been the Flash for 20 years.
And coincidentally enough, they did the reverse of that recently with Rebirth. It was because Flash, he was gone from Crisis on Infinite Earths to Final Crisis, I believe, is when he came back. And for the New 52, they totally redid it where everyone's like, okay, the newer comic book fans were accepting of the reality of, okay, this is a different world. I don't have to really know all that history, except they'll tell me that history that is needed. And then Rebirth was essentially, that Final Crisis where, hey, here's Wally West, the white Wally West, the one who was the Flash for 20 years, when a lot of people read comic books, and was actually the basis of the Flash for Justice League on the cartoon show, doing all basically coming back just like Barry Allen did. And we even saw that with Jay Garrick. Well, no, Jay Garrick in the comic books recently too. He just did the same thing. But it didn't have the right effect because he's sitting there going, "Remember me," and that was from the button that they just did in the comic books. But no, so all in all, I look at these and I think it is really good. I think this is, the Deadpool one, obvious. The New Mutants, I'm excited because I had been screaming, well, not literally, but I've been wishing this to happen for the longest time since they rebooted and did X-Men First Class. And it's like, oh, well, here's our new Professor Xavier. Okay, cool. That's sort of going to happen. And then Beast and all these other characters, like, you do know there's other characters. Like, you do know, like, Colossus didn't get a lot of screen time in the original trilogy. Kitty Pryde, X-23. There's all these other ones that I gravitated towards, just from reading the Marvel Wikipedias, the Marvel wikis that they got out there of the history. I'm like, oh, this character sounds so cool. oh, but they're not, Jean Grey, Scott Summers, Logan.
Because this gets back to the movie producers goes, see, this is what you do to get a big good movie. You gotta have stars. 1 star, that's good. You don't want to confuse the people, they're kind of stupid. You do one guy and him and him and him 18 movies until he says, hey man, I'm gone. Okay, we got to find a new Wolverine. Little girl, okay, we can handle that. because like Deadpool, it was the first movie where the people making it says, no, you're not coming in and saying, okay, yeah, we've got these, we love these stories. Okay, we're throwing 90% of it out and just keeping 1%, and that'll be a great movie. The comic book people would like it. What Ryan Reynolds and the rest of them says, no, this is how it goes. This is how the comic book goes. We're gonna have it be true and not just like those real life stories based on a true events and like nothing's like it was. They're going, the comics had it like this, we're gonna have it like that. We're not gonna just think, oh, that's shiny, let's look at that all the time and leave everything go its own way.
Yeah. All right, so the next story is one that ties into a movie that came out last week, I believe,
or today.
Okay, yeah, sorry, this week. And it is, the movie that I'm referring to is The Mummy. And it's this setup for the big new, the Universal Monsters universe that is going to be happening. And so it looks like, I guess, the next movie is going to be titled The Bride of Frankenstein, but that's not the big thing I'm wanting to hit at. And that is that they've added more creatures, and more in this Universal area or Universal Monsters area. They're adding the Phantom of the Opera and the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah. Now this comes off. Hasn't been any casting for these characters. But this comes off of Johnny Depp being cast as the Invisible Man. Javier Bardem is cast as
the monster,
as Frankenstein's monster, or Frankenstein's monster for the German people out there. And so I'm hearing this, I get excited. But then I think, Peter, you brought it up in pre-show that the Mummy movie hasn't gotten the best reviews.
No. And also to mention that what's his face, Gladiator guy, he's playing Dr. Hyde, I believe, in the movie. Okay. So he's like your Professor Xavier to all the monsters, I guess. But yeah, so what was the question?
So I haven't really got to the question yet. I mean, it's just, so what do you think about this? I mean, we can hit on the Mummy, but even the extended, with this whole Universal Monsters, the Dark Universe thing. What do you think about this as something as the next cinematic universe that's going to be coming out here?
Well, I think for me, the thing that I want to know is why. Why do we need this? I understand the DC universe. You've got your crossovers and you've got your Justice League. Marvel, you've got your you got your Avengers, your Harry Potter universe, you've got now Fantastic Beasts and stuff like that. What exactly are they going to do that is going to necessitate all of these people being in the same universe? I almost get a really bad, like, we're going to get Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
That was gonna be my joke. That was the main thing. There's gonna be a bad boy.
It just smacks of a bad Scooby-Doo episode or something. And I don't understand why we need this. Redoing all these movies, making a Hunchback of Notre Dame that is scary, gritty, edgy, whatever. I'm for that. But why does it have to exist in the same universe as the Mummy and the Invisible Man and things like that? Why can't we just have these things be standalone?
I think the reason was they wanted to do the like the whole Universal Monsters thing where they're you got like the creature from Black Lagoon fighting Frankenstein's monster, and and different things like that, like and fighting the werewolf and fighting like they wanted that. And so how do you do that? Well, take a page out of Marvel's book and do a whole shared universe there, and to where they're you're getting it going that way.
It's not bad Scooby-Doo, it's bad Godzilla then. So
yeah.
But maybe they should have taken 2 pages from the Marvel playbook and have like a grand story arc for all the movies together, and not just, well, we're going to do it, okay, and then we'll bring this in. And what they could have done without announcing this dark universe is do like what they did with the Shyamalan's movies. Like at the end of Split, you find out, oh, it's in the same place as Unbreakable. Have the Mummy as itself, and then have the Invisible Man, and then Frankenstein, and then in the end of the Frankenstein, have the Mummy or someone from the Mummy show up and find out that after 6 hours of movie, oh, it's all in the same place, rather than telling you right at the beginning, it's all in the same universe type of thing.
Yeah,
it seems very artificial to do it this way, that we're doing it as a universe because that's the cool hip thing to do right now. So that's what we're going to do.
No, it definitely does. It definitely does have that screaming of, well, hey, what's the big thing right now? Because I mean, even in the comic book side of things, Valiant is doing a shared universe, but with that, it does seem like it's more their big hitters are going to be on the big screen, and then like some of their other smaller titles are going to be on like TV, or even some of it was like the web. Like I think they were working on a Ninjak movie with Jason David Green, Jason David Frank, the original Green Power Ranger, as in one of the roles there. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you guys. I do think this is share like even with doing how they're excuse me, how they're doing with the Mummy, where you have Russell Crowe playing Dr. Jekyll. That to me screams like, okay, cool. That's how you do it, not have all the trailers. And I've only seen one trailer. I've seen one trailer, and then I've seen 2 TV spots where the TV spots they do, and I was mentioning this, they were on Comedy Central. They actually they had the various actors reading the script, like verbatim, including these stage notes. And that part was cool. But I've seen the same trailer of, oh, Tom Cruise finds finds this tomb, apparently the sand got so crazy over in Egypt where it covered up I can't think of the name of that. The Sphinx. Yeah, the thing with the face and the lion body.
Yeah, the Sphinx.
The Sphinx. And we go in here and there's the tomb, and we're gonna take this tomb back, and helicopter or plane, he dies, and wait, he's not dead. I've seen that trailer like at every movie that I've gone and seen that wasn't Marvel. And I'm like, there's other trailers, right? Like, it's not like there's other ones out. They're just not doing a whatever that Tarzan movie was that had Sam Jackson. Yeah, where it's just like, okay, we're going to show you we're going to show you the best footage from the movie to make the trailer. Yeah. Sort of deal.
Maybe they'll just tie them all together by having Tom Cruise run through every movie.
That's the through line. You're just gonna have Nick Morton all the way through. I'm like, oh my god, that's my face. It's like, what does the dude have your face? What about your face? But I don't know. I guess final thoughts on that. Are you excited for the Mummy? Are you wanting to go see it?
Probably not. I'll wait for it to be on Netflix.
Yeah, same here. I'll wait for it. It's I like these kinds of movies, but just the reviews have me scared at the moment. So
Yeah. No, same here. This is like I got scared off with Ghost in the Shell and a few other movies where it's like, yeah, I'm really excited for this movie, and then I just hear the reviews and I'm like, yeah, when does it come out on DVD?
yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that is going to do it for the news. And real quick, for the people listening, you guys got a little extra time on your hands? Do you want some experience as a social media manager? Well, we're looking for you. The Galactic Network is in search for someone to help us step up our Facebook/Twitter/Instagram/Patreon game. And oh, did we forget to mention that this position pays the wonderful salary of nothing? But if you have the passion for community building, are into sci-fi, horror, gaming, comic books, the paranormal, and similar topics, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at contact@gncasts, that's GNCASTS.com. Dave said I had to read that, so I read it.
Other positions like that would make you pay them $100 a week. Here, you save $100 by doing it for us.
Exactly.
How's that for a throw for it?
That's honestly what I thought when I heard you do that announcer voice earlier. I'm like, oh, can I get Peter to read this?